Hey, this is the second day of the Southwestern Ontario exploration. Today is an extreme cold warning day. It's currently minus 25 and it's going to go to minus 30. So we will keep this nice and short and cover as much stops as we can. Alright, let's start this. Okay, so our first stop is in the town of Walkerton in Bruce County. There's a memorial here. Let me tell you the story of this memorial. It's a fountain. Basically, when there was a lot of rain and going down on the town in 2000, back then they didn't have water regulations or an acceptable clean water standards. So basically, the water washed up through the crops and through the cow manure and through everything, and got into the drinking water. And since they weren't putting enough chlorine or the water treatment wasn't up to standards of today, they basically, people started getting sick and rushed to the hospital, and 6 people died and 500 were ill. So after that, they created this memorial to honor the people that died and the people that fell ill. So yeah, just from drinking tap water, people died and got sick from whatever got washed up in the drinking water. So yeah. I guess the two things there were they blamed at the time were the staff at the water treatment facility, they didn't put enough chlorine in there to clean the water, and I guess the premier at the time was Mike Harris. Got a lot of blame for it, for cutting down on privatizing water regulations and whatnot. So yeah, this is a story for you. This is supposed to be a fountain, but I guess it's winter time as well. So yeah, on to the next stop. Okay, our next stop is an unusual sign of a town called Rockset. The story behind it is that it used to be a seasonal business town. They only had, I think, a furniture factory and some businesses. And as the towns around it became more popular, people started to move out, and as the railroad system has been rerouted away from it, it became a ghost town. And only 300 residents lived there. And the whole idea is that it was included in some book that stated all the Ontario ghost towns. And this is the residents' way of saying we're not a ghost town, we're still living here and there's life here. So yeah, this is the unusual story of an unusual entrance to a town. Alright, to the next one. Okay, our next stop is the West Montrose covered bridge, which is the last of its kind that's covered. It was built in the 19th century, and I'm in West Montrose, where it is an Amish town with horse and buggies and everything. In order to maintain this bridge, it was reinforced and kept around. It only takes one car. It's over the river. And it's the first time that I've seen buggies and stopped so that they can pass. As you can see, the bridge is fully made out of wood when wood was inexpensive back then. So they actually built a roof for it as well. And of course the river is frozen. But yeah, this is gorgeous. I'm north of Waterloo, Ontario. This is how Amish travel. This is all new to me. Okay, on to the next stop. There you go. They're either 2 horses or 1 horse. And there you see it as well. The interesting thing about their buggies is that they're not sitting outside because of the cold. They're actually sitting inside and doing what they do. Okay, the next stop is Rush's Cemetery. Here's the interesting thing. There's a tombstone here, or a stone that so the story behind this stone is that a guy named Beam was born in 1842, and he was a minister and a medical doctor. He married Henrietta, and she then died 7 months later, and then married Susanna, and that marriage didn't last long either. She died soon enough. So he created a stone with some kind of code on it, so to send them a message. Now the original stone is here, which is brushed and already not clear what it was on it, but people recreated to keep this attraction alive. They actually created another stone with what was on it. Now a lot of people tried to decipher this message, and there's a lot of theories about it, but still to this day they couldn't figure it out, the full message. Now some say, because there's letters and there's numbers, and the book says you can start with the 7th letter and the 7th 7 by 7 and start there or something. But yeah, I have a picture of it. I'll decipher it when I get home. But this cemetery has one of the prettiest stones I've seen so far. It's on a highway. I had to park across and walk. Assalamu alaikum. As you can see, beautiful. He then married a 3rd time, but that marriage lasted long, and him and his wife are buried somewhere else in Ontario. You see here, beautiful stones. These are all like 18th century or 19th century stones. Now those are the more newer ones. But yeah, this was a good stop. I'll decipher that message later. Let me take some pictures. Okay, our next site is the Kilbride Castle. It was built by a farmer, a Scottish farmer who came to Canada in the 1850s by the name of James Livingstone. the special thing about that is that he came age of 16 and worked in farming and mills until he made enough money to build this castle, and with the effort of a French artist, created 3D printings on the walls. So we'll see inside.
Castle Kilbride, after James's birthplace in East Kilbride, Scotland. No expense was spared when he built his castle, with exquisite taste and impeccable interior decorating. James hired Henry Sharstein, a local German painter. Sharstein used the trompe-l'oeil artistic style to grace the ceilings and walls throughout the castle. Trompe-l'oeil is a French term that means to fool the eye or trickery of the eye. This technique is highly regarded and considered one of the most accomplished styles of painting. Each mural displays strong Victorian symbolism intertwined with Roman and Greek influences and hidden images that trick the eye. The artist challenges the viewer to question if what they see is real or not.
Okay, so I couldn't film inside or take pictures, but the house is, or the castle is amazing. It was restored by the city and bought by them before a developer couldn't maintain it, so they bought it from him and restored it. The paintings are beautiful, like all the ceilings are painted, 3D printed, and all the artifacts are there, and the board games, smoking room, summer kitchen, all the bedrooms have their dresses in it. Yeah, because this James Livingston was a businessman and owned a lot of mill seeds production companies and seed oil and expanded throughout Canada. So yeah, they had butlers, they had everything. So yeah, it's beautiful inside, but I couldn't take pictures, but this is it from the outside. Okay, so the next site is the Kitchener Pioneer Tower. It was built in 1926 to commemorate the first Germans that arrived in the Waterloo area, as they were pioneers and they bought the land from the natives, who got it as a reward from the British for helping the British in the American Revolution. So in order to commemorate the first Germans that came here, and you'll know that, some of you know that Waterloo has German influence, and this tower is just to commemorate when they first settled in Waterloo. Now the book says that I can actually go up the tower. Let me see if I can, or if it's even open. It's locked. Okay, so this is as far as we go. So yeah, 1800 till 1925, those are the years that they're commemorating. And it was built in 1926, so yeah, that was the time. Usually in the summertime you can go up and actually view the lake from there. Okay, let me take some pictures and we can move on. Okay, our next stop is the Blair Sheaving Mill. It's basically used to generate electricity by using the current from the river. You can hear the river and it's flowing right now. It was restored back in 2000. They used to power mills with it. It's basically it turns around with the water and it gets the current going basically. It was built in 1876 and was restored in 2000. And now it's a historic site. And it's the only one of its kind in Ontario. Yeah, I'll take some pictures and off we go. Okay, our next site is a church that was built with a technique that's beautiful, which is basically aligning cobblestones together uniformly to build the walls. A man named Levi Barton, when he migrated from New York to Paris, Ontario, is where we are right now. He brought the technique with him in 1845. It's basically gathering all kinds of stones from the fields and aligning them, making sure that they're the same size and aligning them like that. So it's like limestones and all kinds of stones. They just have to be the same size. And yeah, it's very distinctive. And once building bricks were discovered, this technique died off. Let me see what it says here. Built by the free labor of its own congregation with stones gathered from nearby fields. Was dedicated in 1845. It's a fine example of the type of cobblestone construction seldom found elsewhere in Canada and introduced in this area about 1838 by Levi Barton. Yeah, which is what I said. It's a heritage site as well. It's amazing how many sites Canada maintains for heritage historic sites. So yeah, I'll take some pictures and I'll see if we can add in another stop for today before the sun comes down. Right.